A summary of First Contact and the Korghast conflict. Author, Velari historian, translated for human readership. The anomaly of Earth humanity is a glitch in the cosmic code, a contradiction of raw violent impulse and staggering technical potential. They crawled out of the gravity well of a planet so biologically hostile it shouldn't have been on the maps. When they finally broke atmosphere and stepped into the black, they hit the Synarchy like a kinetic strike. These weren't the fragile, low-G species the galaxy was used to. These were high-density predators moving with a heavy, lethal economy of motion that made every other sentient race look like a glitchy simulation. Earth was a fever dream of a world, a chaotic mess of volatile weather and geological temper tantrums that would have scrubbed any civilized species from the surface in a generation. While the rest of us grew soft on worlds with locked-in climates and predictable orbits, the humans were busy evolving in a meat grinder. Life on Earth didn't just survive. It clawed its way out of the oceans, conquered the dry rock, and built an apex intelligence in the middle of a global war zone. Point 2. The human limitation, or lack thereof, they've got a biological baseline that reads like a combat stimulant log, iron-rich blood, bile-slicked instincts, and the ability to breathe toxic soup that would flatline a Velari in seconds. The Synarchy elites, in their infinite arrogance, tagged them as dumb brutes, just another heavy-G species destined to burn out in their own atmosphere. They were wrong. The humans weren't just muscle, they carried a razor-sharp, pragmatic intelligence that sat uncomfortably behind those predatory eyes. It was a cerebral upgrade the galaxy wasn't prepared to handle. Tucked away in the void stitch, a dead zone so empty the cartographers didn't even bother to name the rocks, humanity spent centuries staring into the abyss, wondering if they were the only mistake in the universe. Their first contact wasn't a planned handshake, it was a sensor ghost. A research boat sifting through the dregs of the cluster picked up a signal, a jagged, primitive broadcast bleeding out of Earth's atmosphere like an unencrypted data leak. Point 3. The survey and the silent warning following the protocols of the Lexi Turner, ancient red tape for a modern age. The survey boat hung in high orbit, ghosting the planet. They looked at the moon, that massive, scarred rock hanging over Earth like a threat, and the realization hit the crew like a neural spike. They saw the sheer energy required to launch anything out of that gravity well and realized exactly what kind of hardware these humans would eventually pack to be. By the time we spotted them, they had already breached the veil. Their orbits were cluttered with iron-frame stations and early-gen satellites, manned by meat sacks who didn't care about the vacuum. The Velari survey team panicked, bugging out before they even finished the handshake protocols. Back at the Synarchy, the debate turned ugly fast. Half the council was preaching new life rights, while the rest saw the coming storm. A species that looked exactly like the Korghast, only with better processors. Point 4. The Korghast intervention. The Korghast didn't do diplomacy, they did preemptive strikes. Bored with the Synarchy's bureaucratic stalling, they jumped a Void Reaver and a wing of interceptors into the system to wipe the human slate clean. They expected a slaughter. They got silence. The fleet went dark, and the Void Stitch swallowed the evidence. The Korghast didn't take the hint. They doubled down and sent a mothership, a flying fortress the size of a sprawl, bristling with heavy plate and thermal cannons. They had 7 of these Leviathans in their total inventory. As the monster drifted toward Earth, it intercepted a single, wideband human signal. It wasn't a plea. It was a 3-word tactical warning: turn back now. The Korghast commanders, high on their own supply, ignored the warning and engaged a human defense fleet that looked like it had been welded together in a junkyard. They logged the victory with cold, machine-like precision, tallying up a 70% kill rate on human assets. Then the feedback loop hit. 5 minutes of dead air was broken by a panicked SOS. The last burst of telemetry was a death rattle. Mothership destroyed, attempting retreat. The human counteroffensive. For 20 years, the Korghast were locked in a diplomatic blackout, while the humans stayed behind their keep-out signs. Then the signals changed. A distress call went up from the Korghast border, raw terror on an open frequency. The Korghast scrambled their remaining 6 motherships into a defensive wall, only to find 3 human signatures waiting for them. These weren't the scrap heaps from the first encounter. These were blocky, industrial-grade killers built from the bones of their own world. The humans hadn't just survived, they had scavenged the Korghast tech and optimized the hell out of it. The battle was a bloodbath, a high-velocity exchange of fire that tore the sector apart. Later, the human logs revealed the terrifying truth. They weren't even trying, it was a live-fire training op. The humans launched 6 specialized munitions. They called it igniting the stellar core. 4 Korghast motherships vanished in a blinding thermal bloom. The survivors were hunted down and dismantled. Vi. The Dreadnought landing and the new piece, the human heavy hitter, the Dreadnought, deorbited and sat over the Korghast capital like a guillotine. The galaxy braced for the inevitable genocide, but the humans threw a curveball. They didn't want slaves, they wanted a regime change. Their broadcast hit every channel in the cluster. We're not here to stack bodies. We're here to end the threat. Don't mistake our mercy for a lack of hardware. We come in peace, but we are always ready for war. No annexing, no resource stripping. They just cut the heads off the Korghast war machine and installed a democracy at gunpoint. They rebuilt the infrastructure they destroyed, and before long, the Korghast, once the most feared predators in the sector, were the humans' most loyal attack dogs. 7. Legacy of the secret weapon. Once they had the galaxy by the throat, the humans did something truly insane. They mothballed their best tech. They decommissioned the nuclear bomb, treating it like a dirty secret from their primitive past. They scrubbed the blueprints and the math, trying to wipe the slate clean of a weapon that could crack a planet. After the dust settled, Solaris Command took the wheel, managing the transition with a cold, professional edge. Today, the Synarchy watches the humans with a mix of awe and pure, unadulterated terror. They're the best neighbors you could ask for, until you cross them. They live for the peace, but they breathe the war. They're a race of high-functioning predators, always keeping a hand on the hilt, forever ready to burn it all down if the math doesn't add up.